Have you ever noticed that the people you care about the most can also be the source of your biggest headaches, your greatest stress? It's such a strange paradox, right? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating text that challenges our whole idea of what love and connection are, and the immense power they really hold over us. To kill in the name of love. Just let that sink in for a second. It's a chilling phrase, mostly because it feels like a total contradiction. I mean, how can love, the emotion we connect with care and protection, become a reason for doing the worst possible thing to another person? It really makes you ask a pretty tough question. How is it possible that our deepest, most meaningful connections can sometimes lead us to our most destructive, our worst actions? And that's the big mystery we're going to try and unpack today. Okay, so to get started, we've got to look at this fundamental conflict that the source text brings up, this tension between a life of, say, peaceful solitude and a life that's all tangled up with other people. So on one side, you've got this idea of the mountain recluse. Their life is quiet, they're in tune with nature, their mind is calm. But then on the other side, you've got the modern connected person, always busy, always worrying about something, and a lot of the time, suffering. And here's the key difference. The recluse's concerns are pretty simple, but our lives, they're this complex web of anxieties, and usually they're anxieties for other people. And the source really wants us to think about this. I mean, ask yourself, for whom are you so busy? Who are you working so hard for? Who are you worried about all the time? For whose sake are we just exhausting our minds until, our bodies and our hearts start to break down? What's really driving all of this chaos? Well, the text we're looking at offers a really powerful two-word answer to all of those questions. It introduces this concept that it calls the special relationship. So what is a special relationship? Well, it's talking about those core connections in our lives. Our parents, our partners, our kids, our lovers. The source actually uses the term teishugansi. These are the people we think about day and night, right? The relationships that we believe completely define our happiness, our entire destiny. They feel absolutely inescapable, like they're a fundamental part of who we are. But, and this is a huge but, here is the crucial point the author makes. This very idea of a special relationship is a trap. It can become the source of our deepest, most extreme suffering. And in the worst-case scenarios, it can even lead to just horrific violence. And to really hammer this point home, the source gives us a couple of really stark, real-world examples. The first one is a story about a mother whose love for her son, well, it took a really devastating turn. She murdered her son's girlfriend. So why would she do that? Because in her mind, that special relationship she had with her son gave her the right, maybe even what she saw as a duty, to get rid of what she thought was a threat to his future. Her love became the reason, the justification for murder. The next case is just as tragic, and it really shines a light on how possessive these relationships can become. This one is about an ex-lover who just could not let go. He killed his ex-girlfriend for a simple reason. She had moved on. The idea that she was his ex-girlfriend, that their special relationship from the past still gave him some sort of claim over her life, that's what fueled his rage. It's such a tragic example of the danger of seeing people not as individuals, but as characters in our own story. So, all of this brings us right back to that central question. What is it about these connections that gives them such a powerful and sometimes so destructive a hold over our minds and our actions? And the answer the author gives is, well, it's both surprising and really profound. The whole argument is that the immense power of these relationships actually comes from something we create ourselves. Okay, so here's the core idea. This special relationship doesn't really exist out there in the world. It's not some external, concrete thing. It is, at its core, something our own minds build, a mental construct. So let's break down how this is supposed to work. First, you just have two separate, independent people. That's it. Then, our mind applies a label, my mother, my child, my partner, and right there in that moment, with that mental label, this huge, inescapable connection is born. But it's born inside our heads. And the implication of this is just, wow, it's profound. All of our intense emotions, the joy, the sorrow, the love, the hate, they aren't necessarily tied to the actual human being standing in front of us. No, they're tied to the idea of that relationship, to the mental story we've created about what it means to be my mother or my child. So, if these incredibly powerful forces are basically creations of our own minds, what does that mean for us? Is there any way to escape the suffering they can cause? Now, the point here isn't to say our relationships are worthless or that we should push people away. Not at all. It's really about gaining perspective. Just recognizing that these intense feelings are born from our own mental framework. That's the first step. It's like the difference between being swept away by a powerful river current and learning how to stand on the shore and just watch it go by. That perspective lets us feel connection and love without being controlled by the obligation and expectation that so often destroy our peace of mind. And that leaves us with one final, really powerful question to think about. If it's true, if these relationships, with all their potential for incredible joy and incredible pain, are ultimately built inside our own minds, then does that mean we actually have the power to learn how to build them differently, in a way that's healthier and a whole lot less destructive?